plant is called Aquilegia. It's actually Aquilegia vulgaris, and it has a beautiful purple flower. Now, most people will know it by its common name, which is Granny's bonnet.
Oh, that's a lovely name.
And it's a typical cottage garden plant that has been grown for hundreds of years. And what's lovely about this plant, it has been growing at Glen for over 100 years now.
That's amazing.
So, and it multiplies and divides by itself every year. So it's a very loving and giving plant. And it's very easy to propagate by seed. All you have to do is wait until perhaps now, which is August, and just get yourself a brown paper bag or an envelope or whatever you've got, and very carefully cut the plant and turn it upside down into the bag.
Wow.
And give it a good shake.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And when you've shaken the seed into the bag, you'll be quite surprised at the amount of seed that you have. In fact, there will be hundreds and hundreds of tiny black seeds.
Very good.
And then you can literally leave it like that, sitting in a dry place in the kitchen or in the hot press, and then you can plant it in a little bit of compost, or even just shake it around the garden outside, and it will happily grow next year. So there's some of the seed just sitting away there in the bottom of the bag.
Very good.
So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming today.
It also used to be known as cowboy's toilet paper, even though it's actually a European plant, because the leaves are actually extremely soft, and you can see they have hairs on the underside just to stop them from drying out. So I presume it comes from a fairly dry climate in probably Mediterranean or Greece. I don't know where it originated from, but now great mullein is everywhere in Europe, and it's also grown for medicine. The flowers themselves are actually medicinal, and you can put them into oil and you can use them for ear infections, same as garlic oil. And if you mix the two together, it's even a better effect.
Brilliant.
And the leaves are actually also medicinal. You can make a tea from them, and that's what I do sometimes, just to clear the lungs, actually.
Brilliant.
It's actually a lung herb, so that's great mullein.
That's brilliant. And tell us a bit about yourself, Martin.
Oh, I'm Martin from Gardens for Life, and we are in County Roscommon. We do a lot of no-dig gardening, and we like to grow a lot of extremely low-effort perennial gardens as well, with highly productive, with high productivity. So we like to show people on our YouTube videos, for example, we like to show people how to make your garden more productive and less maintenance, basically.
Brilliant. Thank you.
And my grandfather, they were doing thrashing or something, and they had a big crowd of people in the house. So my mother was over helping my grandmother, and they were just getting dinner ready, you know, in those traditional times. And she went out to the garden anyway. She cut best head of cabbage to bring in to cook for dinner. But she met my granddad on the way on the street on the way into the house, and granddad looked. He saw my mother with the head. And my granddad and my mother got on extremely well. They had a great relationship. But granddad said, "Oh God, Alice, you're after cutting the best head. I was keeping that one for the seed."
Oh, right. Okay.
You know, so he was selecting his own. He was selecting every year he grew his cabbage. Every year he picked the best one. He would keep it. He would allow it to grow on, harvest the seeds from it, and then sow it again the following year. So and this is why when people, if you remember, when we used to travel, when we were children, we traveled from maybe to visit your uncle somewhere else. Maybe they lived 20 miles away, or a different county or a different place. And the food tasted different. Because actually it was different. So you had a great diversity of foods, even in the cabbage. They weren't all growing the very same varieties, these hybrids or whatever it was. So you go into a supermarket now, and its quality is excellent, but the uniformity is excellent. But that very uniformity is also leaves a vulnerability.
This is yarrow. It's also known, the Latin name for it is actually Achillea milfolia. That's because the leaves actually keep splitting. As you can see here, it's a 1,000 leaf, what it means, milfolia. And flowers attract beneficial insects to your garden. It's also known as globe flower. They have, it looks a bit like a globe, like the actual flower, and it's used medicinally. It's actually known as soldier's woundwort, and you can actually rub the leaves, make a poultice, or just rub the leaves onto a wound, and it'll actually clot the blood. And it's also actually really nice in a salad. Some people eat the young leaves in a salad as well.
Oh, okay.
Are that these are heirloom varieties.
Yeah.
So they're not highly bred hybrids. They're not hybrids. So if you buy a packet of seeds and it's F1 hybrid written on it, don't save the seeds from them, because the next generation, the F2s, could be of all kinds of qualities. You know, there may be a superb new variety in it, but by and large there may be poorer ones, not as productive. But when you get what's called a straight heirloom variety, it hasn't been hybridized. So the seeds in this will be the same as the original plant.
Wonderful.
So it's only a matter then just of opening that fruit. It is. And inside you can see it's a fabulous fruit. Really, really gorgeous.
Yeah.
This one came from Brown Envelope. I bought this seeds in the springtime from Brown Envelope seeds. And then all you do then is just squeeze them out onto, in this case, a little bit of absorbent paper, kitchen towel. You see, massive amount of seeds there.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. So you just get them out evenly, because they will then, you know.
Give another one you can go, Brendan.
I just see that one come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll use the two, and we have
And
lots
what
of
do
them
you
there.
call that heirloom tomato? Can you remember the name
No, I
of it?
can't remember the name of this one actually.
That's okay. We Brown envelope seeds anyway.
We have to name it ourselves.
I think it's Marmante actually, now that I think of it. I think it's Marmante.
Okay.
You see all that there
goodness,
now.
look at that.
But they're such beautiful flavour. Now we grow them I grow them in the soil.
Yeah.
And all that's in that soil then is, we'll say, lots of organic manure.
Yeah. And are you growing them in the polytunnel?
In the
Brendan?
polytunnel, yeah.
Keeping them in.
And I feed them then with seaweed. So I mix dry seaweed in the soil when I'm planting them, along with the manure which is buried in the soil
Okay.
in a trench.
Yeah.
And then I add the seaweed to the soil in around the plants as the plant goes in.
Okay.
And there's a string goes under the plant
Yeah.
and tied to something above.
Right.
And then the plant can be trained up that. And then during the early growing part of the year, I feed them with a liquid seaweed, because it's not too, it doesn't create too much leaf growth on them.
Okay.
It makes them strong. It keeps them growing healthily, but not leafy. This is where there's a problem. If too much leaves, this fruit is what we're growing. You know, it's not leaves, so just nice steady growth.
And what is the best time to start the
Yes, that's a very good question. Tomatoes need a long growing season to get a crop, and not to be waiting till the end of the summer. You want tomatoes during the summer when it's hot, nice and sunny and warm weather. It's lovely having salads. So I would sow the seeds, some of my seeds in January. In a heated propagator, and you have to protect them then from frost for a long time, because we've got a frost into April, May, even into June. So you have to be very careful. You have to watch them, cover them at night, and maybe bring them back into the house even at night time if you have nowhere to keep them warm, or cover them with fleece or something like that. But it's worth it. But you don't have to sow all your tomatoes at that time of the year. Just sow a small number to have some early ones. You can sow more then in February. You can sow more in March. You could even sow some in April. And the other thing about tomatoes is when they're growing, your plants are growing and they're growing quite well. You can actually, you know the side shoots from your tomatoes, take the side shoots out and put them into a pot, and they will root, and you will have a few more. You will actually increase your numbers again. You know, so you could actually have tomatoes then coming on that little bit later. Because remember, you don't. The ones that you started off early and maybe in January, they'll be getting to the end of their time now. They'll produce a lot of crop. So if you had a few stronger, younger plants, they could fill in the gaps then for later on. You know.